Hello, and welcome to week 1 of English 102. You'll note that I'm leaving up some software while we are beginning this course, and you'll see that in every week, in every module that I leave it open, it is intentional. I want it to be as raw and available to you to see that I work just as much as you do, but I also want you to see the multimodalities, the different tabs that I'm using, and how I'm using them effectively to navigate. And so instead of seeing a picture of my face, which I wouldn't want to see for whatever period of time a lecture is, you will see my desktop and those things that are relevant to our conversation. For this course, the homepage is pretty set to the modules immediately. That's intentional. I want you to, when you log into Web Campus for my class the first time, to immediately see where you're supposed to go and what that looks like. You will see that introduction starts here. I think this is pretty self-evident as to what I want you to do. Click on the start. You will see the welcome information there. This class is a major step towards speaking, writing, and thinking in the language of higher education. What that means is that this class is not about teaching you English. It is about understanding how and why we are persuaded to write. In particular, as I said in this first paragraph, I'm going to kind of give you a too long didn't read variant of this if that's the case. What's going on is that the value isn't on learning English. If you do not understand or do not have a perfect grasp of English, you should be okay still writing in higher education. There's enough software, there's enough aid, there's enough student services to sort of fix the micro errors that are the surface errors that are in your language use. But rather, for this course, it is about teaching you how to compose, how to get your ideas into a constructed and organized manner that has been revised and reviewed by your peers, by other people, to look for those things that might be, well, they might break the system, if you will, right? So that's in a nutshell what that first paragraph says. To unpack my conversation, my position in this conversation, specifically as an instructor, my goal is to teach you how to understand bias, how to understand research, how to understand all those tools that you were given in English Comp 1 and gel them, make them concrete, a little more valid through research methods. So this course will take those skills that you've been given in your English Comp 1 class and start to hone them, sharpen them. Think of this as taking your toolbox and not only making sure you have the right tools, but also making sure that all your tools are kept in good shape so that as you do things, as you build things with words, they're more effective. So that's kind of where we're at with this introduction. You'll see that in the introduction, I also offer who I am, a little bit of background on me, but I don't want to read all that. I don't think you want me to read all that. If you have any questions about that, please feel free to reach out to me about it. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. My name is Dean Straight. I do not go by Ronald. You'll note that my email is ronald.straight. That is my first name. I do not use it. Please do not call me Ronald. Do not email me and say Ronnie, Ronald, Ron. I've seen all kinds of variants of it. I don't use that name. So that is not what that's for. So we'll cover that. You'll note that my phone number and email are listed here. Again, you can contact me through inbox, which is right here, which is the easiest way to reach me. If you have a direct question, this is my personal cell. You'll note that I mention this again when we talk about the syllabus in a few minutes. But that is for text. While I don't have a problem having you call me, I'd rather you text me to let me know that you're going to contact me. We'll talk about that a little bit further as we go along. Office hours are provided Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 10 to noon in the library building. 127 is my office. I also am open to meeting you virtually anytime via Zoom, FaceTime, or Google Chat, as long as you set up an appointment with me. I do respond to text much more quickly, so if you text me, it probably will be responded to within an hour or less. If you respond to me in an email, it may take me a little bit of time because I don't keep the email open sitting at my desk pensively waiting for an email to drop through. I think we as a society are much more tied to our smartphone, and therefore when you text me, I'm more likely to see it. This course is 100% online and is designed to teach you how to communicate, compose, and persuade audience as necessary in your academic and professional careers. So let's keep moving forward, kind of moving at a brisk pace, but I want to make sure that you have time to do what you need to do for this week. For syllabus, it is provided both in the syllabus on Web Campus. It's also available through download. A lot of this is boilerplate, so I won't go over all of it. We've already sort of covered this. Again, my phone number is being provided. Here's a caveat with my phone number. If you're going to text me, tell me who you are and which class you're in so that I am capable of connecting the dots. I have historically received a lot of text, which is fine, but when it says something like, hey, I just want to know when this assignment's due, okay, for which class? You're assuming you're the only class I teach, and I know exactly who you are. Apple doesn't do a really good job, for the most part, of always identifying people. So when you do text me, please identify who you are every time and which class. I've had students in other semesters who I've had long conversations with, months long, because of the course, right? But they assume that I know exactly who it is, or I put them in my contacts or something. That's not how that works. So I don't know who you are until you identify yourself. The catalog description is just that this is a continuation of English 101 with an emphasis on writing for sources and argument, the investigative paper, and research techniques. And that is what we will cover in depth for this semester. There is no textbook requirement because I'm using an open education source, i.e. this, which is available to you in both files, and there's a link in the module for this week as well. So I don't expect you to read it all. I expect you to kind of peruse through it and understand what is going on. Okay? It's not super long. I know that it feels long, but it's an interesting read. So go ahead and give that a read for this week so that you can be prepared for next week when we sort of cover the material that's in that. Instead of me assuming that you know what it is, I won't be pushing for that at all this week. Instead, the only requirement will be the topic selection and your introduction, which we'll cover in a minute. Teaching method is obviously 100% online. It will be done through asynchronous and synchronous classroom experiences. I will be able to provide Zoom classes for us to meet. It will not be this week or next, but in week 3 we will do one. They're not mandatory, but they will be recorded, and they're an excellent opportunity for us to sort of workshop what questions you might have or have developed over the next 3 weeks. The prerequisite for this is obviously English 101 or English 100. That's already been established by you when you enrolled in the course. Course schedule, it's a module section course, which means every week you should be attending to the modules here for that week. If you get lost and you don't know which week you are in, you might be too far behind probably at that point. We need to resolve that. There is a technological requirement that you have access to internet so you can get the readings, so that you can see these lectures that are provided through my channel on YouTube directly to the module. Let's see here. When we do meet, if you want to talk, you probably need a camera and microphone, although I'm not a huge proponent. I don't like force people to use a camera, because you'll note that I'm not using a camera. However, if you're going to have a one-on-one conversation with me through Zoom, we're probably going to have the cameras on, so you're going to want that. I am flexible, but I can't be so flexible that you can't attend a virtual classroom because you don't have internet but once every 2 months type thing. So you're going to have to make sure that you have access to that. While this is not an exhaustive list of the requirements, the elements of composition that we will deal with are formal essays, first drafts of each essay, reading responses, short assignments, peer evaluations, and outlining. We've already covered the computer requirements, although this is GBC's requirement for browsers, things like that. You'll note I don't have any lockdown browser requirements. There is no way to really test in an English class where the goal is to teach you how to write, when the practice of writing is the benefit of writing. So video conferences are routinely used both in the classroom and the workforce. So therefore, I believe that everyone has a working microphone when they do participate in those Zoom meetings, and so you should be able to ask questions without just typing them. Going to keep going here. There's an attendance policy. It just says that basically you need to show up every week and make sure that you are turning in assignments or participating in the discussions and the ongoing activities for each week's module. Once you reach 2 or 3 weeks where I don't see any activity, and yes, I can look. I don't like to. I'm not looking to be a judge. I'm looking to help teach you. So if I notice that you've been absent from the class for 3 weeks, I'm going to reach out to you, and we'll probably have to talk about alternatives to getting the course either accomplished or taking it in another semester, because once you reach a certain point of being behind, it's impossible, in my opinion, to catch up without me doing a lot more work and taking away from everyone else in the class to help you get caught up. So always actively each week be a participant in the class. You will also notice in the syllabus that I've listed the course objectives. These are, again, boilerplate. This is the type of thing that you would see in most documents. There's a submission policy available to you and a grading policy and how I will break that down. And then obviously the institutional codes, the policies and procedures associated with the institution. I'm not going over a lot of this stuff because I think, again, it's stuff that you need to read. I'm not going to read line by line. I've heard from students that they don't like that, so I'm not going to do that. I never have and I never will. Going back to the module, so we've done the start here part, but we'll go back through it just to get to the bottom, which will let us click to next, which should be the agendas and outcomes for this week. A quick synopsis of this is that I want to take a journey with you. Obviously, we're in this journey together. You're not sitting in a chair and I'm sitting at a podium telling you what to say. We're kind of sitting side by side in this space, and I kind of like that. This course will cover a lot of ground, and we'll have reading that must be done early on, i.e. the reading I just told you about, so that we have time to produce the assignments that make up the bulk of the work for the semester. There will be, again, no quizzes. Everything will be about composition. So each week there will either be a new assignment or the continuation of the week prior's assignment through revision, or if it's a larger document that I'm having you create, I'm going to give you a couple weeks to work on that. This week we'll build up on community, lexicon, and topics. After listening to this presentation, you should have a better understanding of what I expect for topic selection and the overall theme of the course. Topic selection isn't an easy process, and it takes a bit of time and a lot of thinking about what you want to become, continue to gain expertise in. So I do not pick topics. I'm not going to give you a short list of topics that I would like you to pick. Instead, I want you to pick topics that have meaning to you, particularly if you're thinking about professional development or academic development. I say that because while it's easy to say you find something popular to talk about now, it may be challenging to continue to care about it in 16 weeks. So make sure, and you're the only person, the student, that can make sure that it's something you value enough to carry with you. Yes, you can pick a different topic down the road if you absolutely need to, but realistically the goal is to keep the same topic throughout the entire semester. So it's a big decision. It really deserves time in your brain to really process and think through, versus just jumping on something and saying, oh, I'm going to talk about this. It'll be perfect. And then 2 weeks from now, you're like, I just found out there's not a whole lot of information academically about that topic. So, Dr. Dean, I'm going to need you to let me have a new topic. That's kind of the whole point of this objective. You'll note that the presentation that you're currently listening to will be listed here for this link. This link will be eradicated because all of them will fit under this. We've already talked about the reading, and as I said, when you click on it or download it, you'll get this. It's also available in files under Writing Spaces Chapter 3. That's pretty much the meat and potatoes for this entire week. Week 1 forum is due in a couple days on Thursday. I believe that's the 27th, and you'll see that there's an embedded video that you will watch and then take notes for yourself about your strong areas, weak areas, and then respond in your introduction. So what I don't want is, my name is Dean and I really like macho, Randy Savage, and I wear hats and I have a cactus. That's all I can tell you about myself. I really want you to follow through with watching the video and sort of thinking about those things from an academic standpoint. All I expect 2 responses to each introduction by Sunday at noon, and then the topic selection assignment is due on Monday. That assignment is here. The criteria is already listed here, but in short, what I want you to do is show me that you can produce enough words for a topic selection, that you can kind of talk about that topic at length and gain some expertise in that topic. That's what this 250 to 500 word count is. I'm not a stickler to the word count. If you go under, you're going to find that you're challenged to write about it. If you go over, you're probably going to be perfect, but why continue to write after a certain point? Save some of that for as we produce and scaffold onto this paper, this topic selection paper. The format is really simple. I don't care as long as it meets these the rubric requirements here. And again, the submission requirement is 11 to 12 point Times New Roman, double spaced. I'm kind of rushing, and I'm not trying to. It's I would prefer APA, but if you do MLA for this paper, I'm okay with that. We're going to transition everybody to APA over the next 3 weeks. We will definitely have an APA boot camp, if you will, to cover what that looks like and what you need to understand about citation systems. MLA and APA are close, so if you know MLA, we should be able to transition you over. And if you don't know any, you'll be fine. We have great resources for that, and I don't think that's going to be a problem. With all that said, I think I've covered the bases for what I would like to discuss for this week in this class, and I hope you have a good week. Please, again, reach out to me if you have any questions. I can be reached through email or my cell phone, which I provided. You'll note that in the announcements, I do not have it open. I've had historically people comment there, and I feel bad because almost a week later, I look and I realize someone responded in a place I would never, ever, ever expect to look. It's like they wrote graffiti on the back of my building, and I see it, and then I'm like, oh, and I feel horrible. You feel bad because you responded there, and you think I'm ignoring you, but I'm not. I just don't expect to see any kind of conversation there. If you want to discuss things with me in that context, you can go through discussions and the coffee shop, which is provided here. So, with all that said, I hope you have a good week. I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.